Hello, hello, most beautiful stars. Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Yes, yes, yes. This is our tribute to every weekend at Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am live. So, good day. Whenever you're catching this, I hope it's serving you well, you most magnificent star. I am live. I am Courtney, host of Stars of the Morning Light. Today's show is going to start a series about the Magi. I'm very excited about this. So I see that Seeker of Truth came in. Good to see you, my dear. I do try, as though I am live, to say hello to everyone. All right. It is Friday the 13th. I love December 13th. December 13th is a good day. It truly is. All of December is wonderful. That is where we're going to start today. We're going to be talking about the cycles of energy, the natural cycles of energy, and the magnitude of magic of December, regardless of what you um, may celebrate. December is a beautiful, magical, great month. I see that Kay came into the chat. Good to see you, my dear. And we picked a card for today, which I'm sure is apropos to the fact that we were going to be diving into the wise men, the three wise men. The card is number 22, define. It's the masculine energy of the divine. This is a beautiful card. I'm sorry, the card kind of paused me for a moment. The divine masculine energy, number 2 or 22. This is amazing. The frequency of divine masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. I'm going to hold this card up. You might not be able to see it. There are multiple pyramids within this diamond shape. This sacred geometry is amazing. I'm trying to not create a glare. So, beloveds, as you look at that, what's interesting to me, and I think there's why there was such a pause for me for a second as to why this card came out, is because a lot of what I had just mentioned, the cycles of the seasons, as we will talk about, we are headed into a bit more of a feminine, divine feminine time period. And I've even been making posts out there of what divine feminine energy is like. And right now, it's the sense of inspiration. Our inspiration usually comes from the divine feminine. But to carry that inspiration out takes that divine masculine within to put forth the tasks and the action and to hold that inspiration with hope and awareness. It's wonderful. So, the fact that we're going to be talking about the three wise men, I'm also going to be introducing, mm, let's say, a few different takes on what happened around the birth of Jesus, who was present, from the scene to the wise men to women that were involved, all in this glorious December. So I am very much looking forward to this. Seeker of Truth has a deck of the sacred geometry as well, and it's a beautiful deck, folks. I don't think I have the case to show you. She said that she pulled number 14, communication and passion, also had flew out. So number 14, communication, and number 34, passion. Probably because you're listening to me right now, Seeker. Because I'm full of passionate communication, especially about this topic. What inspired today um, is I had gotten this book, The Magi, for maybe a year or so ago. And throughout the year, I kept going, I want to do that. I want to read that. I want to look at that. We got to cover the Magi, you know, dear to my heart, who they were and what they represent. Well, then I finally picked it up. I finally got to it. And it's a wonderful book. Adrian Gilbert, who also co authored The Orion Mystery and the Mayan Prophecies, which I read the Mayan Prophecies at a very, very young age. And so when I saw this on the shelf, I went, yep, I'm grabbing it, right? I'm not yet through all of it. So that's why this is a series. And there's so much information. Except what was fascinating to me when I knew, okay, well, we're going to get into the Magi a bit today on this beautiful day of the 13th. I then started just pulling, like, okay, what areas are the Magi discussed in, right? I started pulling all, actually, folks, very limited. I was not expecting that. You, of course, have the stories within the New Testament of the Bible. We're going to approach a little bit of what is referred to as the apathetical gospels. I don't think I pronounced that right, but that's fine. Maybe I'll pronounce it right somewhere in the mix. Those were gospels that were apparently written way later, from the original text of the Bible, the New Testament, to what they think to add some details to stories. And so it was probably, over time, stories being told. And then a bunch of people went, that's not what we read, though. So they created separate gospels. I do want to point out the church does not recognize them. So when we get into that, that's where I got more information about the Magi. I will be getting a bit more from this book as we go along in the series. Also today, because Edgar Casey is beloved by everyone here, especially on our Wednesday Edgar Casey Life Skill Studies, we are actually going to go into the Edgar Casey Companion, which pretty much takes different readings that he did and puts them all in an easy find source book. What the Akashic, through Edgar Casey, said about the wise men and who was around during the birth of Jesus and what happened afterwards. Whoa. This is why we love the Akashic. This is why we love Edgar Casey. This is why we love that a lot of his material is accessible. So I'm going to be introducing some thoughts, some ideas. They are for you to take, mull over in your brain, search yourself, and take what you want and leave the rest, right? So, good day, good morning, hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here with you. Let's talk about December. Just December, period. I'm going to talk about December, and then I'm going to talk about these 4 days that we are in. December 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, into the 16th. It kind of all pockets itself. This long weekend. Let's call it a long weekend, 4 or 5 days. And the energies of right now. Oh, glorious. Love it. So, December. Any given December. December of 1988, December of 2023, right? Whatever December is a most magical month. It is beautiful. How we go from spring, the birth, the seeding, the energy of the young maiden into the grown woman, the mature woman, but all of that is masked. Just so y'all know, I'm talking energies here. They are masked by the beautiful divine or masculine. In the spring and summer, when that sun is beating down on us and reminding us, oh, I should mow the lawn today. I need to tend to the garden. I need to run, run, run. Oh, soccer practice. Oh, this. Oh, I got to clean the pool. All of it. Divine masculine energy. When that sun, that beautiful sun, which spoiler, well, not spoiler, but next week we're in Manly P. Hall talking about the sun and how it relates to the son. I can't wait. And the three wise men. Spring and summer. Even though the divine feminine is present, it is kind of overridden by divine masculine energy helping us get the work done. It's beautiful, it's balanced. And then as we go into the fall, and any of you can go into the playlist and watch my series on Michaelmas, which will explain even more so about the autumn. When we go into the fall or autumn, is when we kind of get to pull back and relax into what many would refer to as the crone, the more feminine energy, the wise energy of looking back at spring and summer of what worked and what didn't work. What pushed me to my limits, what didn't push me to my limits. What do I want to keep? What do I want to get rid of? That's a whole lot of what autumn is. As we're also starting to go within during all of the eclipse season that happens there, which is a very big time of self-reflection, very feeling our emotions, looking, reflecting, all of it more feminine based. As we're also, because winter's coming in the northern hemisphere, we're starting to nest. The term nesting, which is more feminine based. Okay, we start pulling out the winter blankets and washing them. We start staying inside a bit more. We start enjoying our hot cocoa, our hot tea, and rainy days with reading a book. Much more feminine. Okay, so I'm not going to go into big descriptions here. But then what about this December? This December that is kind of between this beautiful time period of when masculine and feminine energy are being rebalanced, right? We're taking all that work that we were masculine in, bringing in our divine feminine energy and going, okay, let's exhale. Let's treat ourselves. Let's unwind slowly and reflect on what I did during all that masculine. Well, then December, beautiful, lovely December, is kind of sandwiched in between the rebalancing of the divine and feminine within and around, and then what we go into, which is represented as a dark period. January and into the beginning of February is the darkest. It's where we get the wolf moon. It's where we don't go really anywhere mostly in the northern hemisphere. It's when the days are very long, or the nights are very long and it is dark. And it is a time where us as animal beings with intense feelings, we hunker down. We keep our bodies inside. We do the same as the four-leggeds and all the creepy crawlies, if we're aware of it or not. That is what we crave, to go into our caverns and just be still within that darkness. So what is December then, if it's kind of gelled and sandwiched between this rebalancing of masculine and feminine energy, beautiful, greatness, wonderful, into a time of darkness, sleep, even more reflection, even more just accepting, right? Because we're in that state of relaxation as we should be. That acceptance can come even more so. Maybe a little strategizing for when spring comes again. What seeds am I going to plant? January and February are wonderful. I do go in depth about all of these kind of cycle energies in the moon manifesting curriculum I have that you can purchase online. Email me at Stars of the Morning Light. It is 8 videos of instruction and 25 pages of workbook material. I consider purchasing it. So, December. It is magical. It is more so to have the spirit energy flowing through all of us of when the divine masculine and the divine feminine begin to relax into each other, and joy and seeing the world through childlike eyes again is present. On top of, and y'all might not know this, and this is where we're headed. Woo! I love it. December and the month of August. So I'm throwing it out there. And I had been telling people for a very long time about this past August. Well, now it's here again, folks. The same kind of very powerful energy. December and August are the most powerful psychic downloads, psychic awareness, the awakening of psychic gifts throughout the entire calendar year. Huh. I don't know if y'all knew that. That's what we do here at Stars of Morning Light. We introduce new ideas, new theories for you to explore within yourself. August, because by August, Northern Hemisphere is what I'm speaking of now. We have done an overload of work. We have been pushed, pushed, pushed. And now that masculine divine energy is saying, hey, relax. You can't keep going like this. And then the moon comes in and she cools us down in the night. And in those pockets of silence, as we are relaxing from a long day's work, there's a download. Whoa, we awaken. Because in the physical activity of the work that we do, we are actually releasing a lot of the blockers, mental, emotional blockers, that by August are able to awaken our minds for other energies to come in. It's a wonderful time. Wonderful time if we're aware of it. But now in December, oh, glorious December, when the divine masculine and the divine feminine have rebalanced themselves enough. And we are reminded of the joy. We are reminded of the peace. We are reminded that life is meant to have fun. We are reminded every time we see a child look at a new Christmas decoration and we go, and they love it. And they jump up and down and they're excited. We're reminded of the magic here that is present. And through that memory, remembering that there can be joy in life, once again, we open up. Now, I will tell you 3D, third dimensional living, thinking, will do its darndest. I mean, it does its job really well. Y'all, it does. It knows its job. It will do its darndest. So the density of 3D, where most of the humans are all living, the density of 3D will do what it takes to distract you. It will do what it takes to run, run, run you when we are supposed to be pulling back and looking at the world through the eyes of a child and the joy and peace, the beautiful lights that are everywhere. And we're going to talk about lights. 3D will do its darndest to go, nope, we got to do the grocery shopping, the shopping. We got to meet this person and go to that person and go over to this event. And why am I running so much? And now it's cold and it's kind of scary to drive because I haven't had to do it in the snow for a long time. All of it, all of it is here to distract from the potentiality of you being open up to gaining more psychic awareness, awareness of love, awareness of peace, awareness of joy. It's a beautiful month. So August and December that are kind of sandwiched in, and they are intense months for various reasons. I mean, August, kids are going back to school. The heat. Oh my goodness, my car's not even starting because it's so darn hot. And then December, beautiful energy, but intense. It's because of 3D. But when we relax and trust into the awareness, when we relax and trust into knowing everything's right as rain, when we can remember that this month is not about running and jumping, it's about cherishing life. And who do that? Who does that better? Children. Oh my goodness, I love children. I love being around them. Not for long periods of time, I ain't gonna lie, folks. But those moments that when you see a child be ignited because they realize something new, they saw something magical and beautiful. Though in those moments that we get to witness so much during the season is actually here to remind us we can do the same. So this weekend, y'all, I have been waiting for December of 2024 for quite a while. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. This weekend, it started last night. So the 12th, the 13th, which is today, 14th, 15th, and into the 16th. This beautiful pocket of time. More so of December 2024. I don't know if this is going to be around next December. I haven't looked that far ahead. What I do know is right now, for all the humans, if they know or if they don't know, if they know or if they don't know, many of the humans, this is why we walk around with compassion for ourselves and others, is because many of the humans that we interact with, they might not have the awareness of the energies that are influencing their actions, thought patterns, and behaviors in this given time. The majority are not aware. Okay? So we have compassion on all peoples, all things. This weekend, this span of that pocket, the 12th through the 16th, there's opportunity if you so choose, because it will be affecting everyone. But because you have the awareness now, there's an opportunity if you so choose to use the energies that are current right now to open any elated skills, talents, gifts that you know you have within. They can open up. Psychic abilities. Excellent at this time. I cannot express it more so. For those who are psychic, this is a time that leveling up can completely happen. It is a jump. It is a beautiful, beautiful, taking a very leap forward, accelerating into conscious awareness, higher thought, however you want to put it, ascension, however you want to put it. This could be happening for all the peoples in different degrees. Some it'll be lots of aha moments. Some of them, like in the December 2024 collective Akashic reading, that kept pronouncing to people that moment you feel peace, hold on to that. That is yours. Cherish it, acknowledge it, carry it forward. Anything. So I want to, we're still in this energy. So what I'm going to propose to you, and I'm going to be talking about this a bit more also next Friday live at 11 a.m. This weekend. So it's Friday morning, folks, here when I'm live. Whenever you're catching this, do your best between now and next Saturday, the winter solstice. So you got a week, and most of the subscribers here watch the videos somewhere within that week. In this period of time, this is a very beautiful suggestion that I am very strongly suggesting. In this period of time, consider spending time with yourself daydreaming. Daydreaming about things that you would like to see manifested in 2025. Things that you want to return to even. My mother doesn't listen to these, but if I was speaking to my mother right now, she does great work with watercolor. I don't know how to do that. Those who can paint with watercolor are fantastic. I don't think my mother's done that in years. So things that bring you joy that maybe you could come back to, that you know you have some skill and talent there, but maybe life 3D didn't give you the opportunities to keep growing and expanding in that. So let's daydream about anything we would like to return to that brings us joy. And it could have been when you were 6 years old, or 16, or 26, or 56. I don't care. What brought you joy? And also think about, what do you think would bring you joy in 2025? Something that could be all new and exciting. Goals for you, the family, your community. Daydream about them. And when I say daydream, have fun. Like a child telling a story. All the infinite potentialities that could be attached to whatever that is that brings you joy. Spend quality time thinking about that, picturing all of it, picturing all the greatness that it could bring. The reason I am suggesting this is because we are in the time of light. We are in the time of great manifesting powers, energies, influences. Most people don't recognize that at this time of the year. It is all manifesting, birthing. What would we love to birth? It's all magic. It's all, no matter how dark it gets, the light is present. That is what we will be talking about next week for Yule, for the light, for the SUNSON, the Trinity of the Wise Men. Oh, Y'all stay tuned. So I hope everybody could really take that in. And if you want to develop your psychic powers, join us with the Stars of Morning Light Patreon community. It's this Sunday is actually our gathering. It's going to be a Zoom meeting. We do this every December, and we share our intentions, our top 2 intentions for 2025, and then we all individually do a private ceremony thinking about each one of us and manifesting, helping each other manifest at the winter solstice next Saturday. And then throughout the year, every Sunday, we do meditations together if we can, if we can't, no pressure, to help us layer our manifestations, our intentions. We help each other manifest all these things to reach our beautiful yearly goals. It's wonderful and it's a beautiful community. On top of, if you all of a sudden this coming week go, whoa, I feel different. Whoa, the downloads. Whoa, is this 5D? Whoa, what? Why are my eyes seeing things differently? Why am I hearing something? Whatever it may be, a supportive community with also much more in-depth teaching from me can help the transition. So consider subscribing. It's only $5 a month, folks. 5 or $8. If you can afford 8, you're kind of making up the difference for those who can only afford 5. I teach there twice a month. So consider it, because we are a community and we are learning and growing and experiencing and expanding with one another. And that is all of the lights in the world, learning, growing, expanding by coming together. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So, regardless if you're a patron or not, please spend some time thinking about what you want to manifest in joy, not in fear, not in, oh, I'm lacking this. I feel rejected about that. Fear comes in 3 categories. Lack, either I'm afraid I'm going to lose what I have or I'm not going to get what I want. Rejection, which is very big for most humans, and or true survival, as in all the lovely beings that are trying to survive. So let's manifest in joy, because that's what makes it happen. The patrons are also going to be writing a gratitude list. I know how to manifest, folks. So, beloveds, if you are also curious about how to unravel, work with possible psychic abilities, I want to introduce you to MAGI, taking care of yourself medically, with MAGI Detox System. This is his colloidal silver, gold, and iodine system. I'm trying to hold these up for you to see. I am a distributor for. This detox system can help so many things, from physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. As it opens up, it clears everything in your body that is a barrier from you to be open to communicating with the divine. So not only are we in the season of, oh my goodness, I've been around a lot of people, cough, cough, I'm not feeling too good. This can handle a lot of that. Not only are we in this pocket of time, beautiful December, that can ignite your abilities, which this can help with that. It everybody talks about the pineal gland. This takes care of everything that is collapsing or holding your pineal gland from being used properly. All those heavy metals that are in our system, especially as us a bit older folks. I was thinking about this. When I first started using iMedu detox system, which is the best I've ever find for the iodine and the silver, by the way. And I was trying to get into silver and iodine for a long time. I could not find a good product. This is the best, hands down. Y'all, I went through them all. I was thinking the other day, when I first started this system, whew, I was feeling wonderful because it energizes you, it detoxes the body, it opens up my pineal gland, getting rid of all the crud from the heavy metals. I was thinking the other day, how much metal did I actually have in my system? I was trying to go back in time. I don't think we, especially as us older folks, really identify how much heavy metal ends up being in our entire system, especially our thyroid. For us women, especially the thyroid. That is the hard drive operating system of our entire body. The why I say this is because I have fillings in my mouth. And it took Dr. Ben telling me, "Hey, those fillings you have that are of mercury, because it's what they did back in the day." So between the fluoride in the water, the mercury in our teeth, possibly the lead in our paint, depending on our age, all sorts of things, okay? That this is not in judgment. People only know what they know until they know it. And now many more people are understanding heavy metals are very dangerous to this body that we have. So I have 11 fillings in my mouth that are mercury. 11, folks. So when I first started taking the system, whoa, when I would do it and my mouth would feel it, because you do a few drops of silver, swish it around. A couple of drops of gold, drink it down. You put the iodine, couple of drops on your wrist, rub it down because it soaks better into the skin. When I first started taking it, my mouth literally, it felt as if my mouth said thank you to me. As if my mouth acknowledged that I was doing something good for it. And then the further I started doing the system, the more my body was saying, thank you. Thank you. I have the energy now. Thank you. I have the awareness now. Thank you. I'm not scared to be around other people now. Thank you. Thank you. The silver, which is a natural antibiotic, really, it's a natural cleanser of many things. You could put some drops in your food. The silver helps the iodine travel through the body smoother, safer, easier. And the gold, as you are all beautiful star consciousness beings with those beautiful halos, and the gold is what helps the brain as it is releasing all the heavy metals. The system works. I med do detox. Iodine, gold, and silver. You can look up iMadu and get a consultation with him for free. I forgot to put that into the description. I will do that when I'm done being live here. And or if you've already seen a bunch of the videos with Dr. Ben. If you know of the system and you would like to replace it for either yourself or others, reach out to starsofthemorninglight@gmail.com because I am a distributor and I do have more. And I am taking $30 off this month. In tribute to the three wise men, I'm going to add a zero and take $30 off of an entire 6-month supply of the iMadu detox system. So I wanted to put that out there because this weekend, y'all that don't even have psychic abilities might go, whoa, what's going on? And so if you want to help your body, the beautiful tool, the greatest tool we have that holds our soul, our consciousness, and our intellectual abilities. That's what this body does. If you want to take care of it, make it stronger, make it healthier, make it sustainable, make it have more energy, make it be free and not afraid of all the toxins in the world, because it is your best tool for all that makes you you, then reach out to me. Reach out. So, and I see that Mary Wins has come into the chat. Good to see you, my dear. Actually, Mary just ordered a new one and she said it's an excellent product. It's true. Seeker of Truth in here is saying that's an excellent product. I sincerely do hope that people take up this offer. Free shipping. I can definitely ship it to anywhere in the US. That's why I say email me because I need to get a little bit of your information. Taking $30 off. It's a wonderful, wonderful product, and it is hands down the best silver, colloidal silver that I have ever experienced, with also the iodine. It's the best on the market. So thank you, Seeker and Mary Wins, for backing me up on that because it is hands down. All right, lovely, lovely beans. I just said a lot about December, about taking care of yourself, about psychic abilities, about the beautiful energy of every December. Every December. The miracle of the light being present and born in various ways, in many mythologies, in many ideals. I love it. I love it. And do remember, folks, that all of creation is light that penetrates through the dark. Is light that penetrates through the dark. That is all of creation. The creation you can do, the creation we can do, the creation that has been and always will be. And that could be light, that could be first thought, that could be vibration, whatever it is associated with light. The aha, that light bulb that sparks in the darkness. I love it, folks. Oh, it makes me happy. Happy Friday, everybody. Stay tuned for tonight. Lucky Stone 8 and 8 and I will be here at Stars of the Morning Light at 8 p.m. every Friday. The discussion tonight, I think, will be fascinating. Fascinating. And next Friday, we have a special guest, so stay tuned. Friday nights for Esoteric Tea with Lucky and I. So, beloveds, I told you at the beginning, I was going to introduce some interesting ideas about the wise men. And today we're going to be in Edgar Cayce. Yeah, this video might go long. I'm glad you're settled in. Happy Friday. Edgar Cayce, for those who might have not experienced him before, there is an entire playlist of Edgar Cayce life skills studies here at Stars of Morning Light. Edgar Cayce was known as the sleeping prophet. Edgar Casey was the psychic who brought the concept of the Akashic into the 20th century. He is a beloved, wonderful being who was also Christian. In this book, we have all sorts of different reference. This is a reference material, okay? It is the Edgar Casey Companion. So it's a reference book. So you would just look up what did Edgar Casey say anything about the wise men? Let's look it up. And they can bring you right to the material. Now, how Edgar Casey worked, and all Akashic readers should work, is that a question needs to be presented to the Akashic. Now, if the Akashic record, is full of all past, present, and future infinite potentialities as you are creating your future in this day, do you really think that it would be the same as any other reading? You have to become very specific with your questions. I mean, you're pulling from all knowledge, the biggest database of all the cosmos. So, questions are needed for Akashic readings. So, how this reads is that a question is presented, and then the Akashic is answering that question via the mouth and lips and throat of beloved Edgar. So, we are looking into the wise men. All right, and I am going to read parts of this. So the question is, explain the relationship of the wise men and Jesus's birth. This was the answer. As indicated by the travels of the Master during the periods of preparation, the whole earth, the whole world looked for, sought the cl- the closer under sought the closer understanding. So y'all, we might talk about the nativity as to what they said about that as well. Please take that in. The Akashic answers before it even gets into the wise men. As indicated by the travels of the master, a master that traveling through time and space, a master that travels, let's just put it that way, during periods of preparation. So is that in a physical state or is that in a metaphysical state? A lot of this will be discussed next Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live here at Stars of the Morning Light. The whole earth, known and unknown in our records of history, right? Known in our written history here. The whole earth, the earth itself, I'm sure. The whole world looked for, sought the closer understanding. Do we need some more understanding? Would take the earth, the planet body, and all of the inhabitants to be seeking closer understanding. Hence, through the efforts of the students of the various phases of experiences of men in the earth, as may be literally interpreted from the first chapters of Genesis, ye find that those that subdued, not that they were ruled by, but subdued the understandings of that in the earth. I'm going to keep going and I will explain. Were considered or were in the position of wise, or the sages, or the ones that were holy, in body and mind in accordance with purposes. Ooh. I just dropped stuff. So, what they're saying is if you kind of go back to Genesis, which there's a whole lot of interpretations of Genesis, that which is talking about creation. So let's make it simple there. There are inhabitants of the earth that understand creation, that are subdued by, let's say, some 3D density, but not ruled by. I want to make that very clear. Are subdued. So at this time, it would have been pay your taxes. At this time, when Jesus is born, it would have been poverty, danger. There would have been a lot of rules. Lots of rules, folks. It is almost because we can't, it's hard for us to even compare it. I had someone ask me once in a reading, is today's world the most corrupt and the worst it's ever been? Because it certainly appears to be so. I am in the Akashic answering this. And I had to turn to that lovely being and said, no. In the retrospect of all that we think we know of history, it is not the worst right now. It may feel that way, but it's definitely not. And there is no thing of worse or less. It is in various degrees that we can either be subdued or ruled by. Very big distinction. But subdued the understandings of that in the earth were considered and were in the position of wise, or the sages, or the ones that were holy in body and mind in accordance with purposes. Maybe daydream about your purpose. I love it. You can create a purpose. It's a new cause. I love it. Hence, we find the wise men as those that were seekers of truth. For this happening, and in and through the application of those forces, as ye would term today psychic, we find them coming to a place where the child was. So these wise men who are not ruled by the 3D influences and density, did they live amongst it? Was it tiresome? Yes. But because they were seekers of truth, because they were holy in mind and body, not corrupted by the 3D, with applications, what we would refer to, it says it, as ye would term today as psychic, we find them coming to the place where the child was. So when there's a reading of the Akashic, so everybody knows why this kind of speaks in present tense opposed to past. Because Edgar Casey's getting this reading somewhere in the turn of the 19th century, right? Probably 1920, 1930 something. Why does the Akashic present it as present tense? We find these men in the place of the child. Because the idea of linear time is very fluid. And when a reader is being presented with things, we're not seeing it, because I do see it and I get to hear all about it. We're not seeing it as if it happened way back when. I have to be notified. Okay, Or unless I'm witnessing it as I know who I'm talking to, that was them at 12 years old. Like it's clear, right? We, the reader, has to interpret a lot of things because everything is presented as present tense because time is fluid. So when we read, as I am verbally reading passages from messages, Akashic messages via Edgar Casey's body, it's going to be most likely more so in the present. But we are talking about what we know of the past. Going back to the message. They represent, in the metaphysical sense, the three phases of man's experience. The maturity is the gold. The material is the frankincense. And the ether is, or ethereal, is the mirth. So maturity is, they're trying to say the mental, let's just use mental. The mental is the gold that they presented. The mental is the gold of the detox system. That I just said can help. The material, so like the physical and material things, is the frankincense. Lovely. But the ethereal, the psychic, the abilities, the connection to the divine masculine, as I hold this card back up, the connection to divine, that is the mirth. And we're going to read this. The ether or the ethereal is the mirth. The healing force has brought with same or body, mind, soul. So before I get into the mind, body, and soul, that mirth is the healing force. That mirth. I just yesterday facilitated a full soul restoration or full soul retrieval restoration. It's something I'm able to do for others, facilitate it, and the anointings that come with it. I use a lot of mirth, folks, because of the healing force that mirth has, that is attached to the frankincense and the gold that is within me. My gold is my flame. I am the sun. That's UN, right? And that's when it says the healing force has brought with the same body, mind, soul. 1, 2, 3. Wise man, wise man, wise man. There were the positions then of the wise men in their relationship, or to put into the daily life. They were the encouragement needed for the mother and those that nourished, that had cherished this event in the experience of mankind. Y'all, I'm about to keep going because this is going to be where much bigger ideas are going to come forth. Okay. Oh, I see you, Chloe. Good to be with you. So those wise men were there for the mother, and those who else were present for the birth of Jesus. So it wasn't just Mary and Joseph and a bunch of stable animals. This is what the Akashic said through Edgar Casey. So debatable, yes. But it's interesting because I'm going to pull from some other material. They came during the days of purification, but to be sure, only after she was purified were they present to the child. So the days after birth, okay, which we all can imagine what birth looked like back then. So after the mother has been able to recover, the child is doing fine, right? Next question. So they clearly just stated the wise men representing all these things, definitely mind, body, and soul, through the gold, frankincense, and myrrh, showed up a few days later in the purification after the purification was kind of over to actually be able to be presented to the mother and the baby. Next question. What relation did they have with the later travels of Jesus? Who knew? We don't hear anything about that. I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to read the answer because it's going to, and then I'm going to make a nice, pretty bow at the end. Okay. This is the answer. So the question was, what relation did they have with the later travels of Jesus? Answer. As has just been indicated, they represented then the three phases of man's experience, as well as the three phases of the teacher from Egypt, from Persia, from India. The three phases of the teacher from Egypt, from Persia, from India. I'm going to keep reading, folks. In those periods that preceded the advent of the Prince of Peace in the earth, we find the entity. For those who are new here, the Akashic uses the term for entity as if it were a term for human, or the human they are about to talk about. We find the entity was among those of the land that would be now be called the Persian, as a wise man, a counsel, a sage that counseled with those peoples, using the mathematical activities of the ages old, as well as the teachings of the Persians from the days of Zen, and Og, bringing for those peoples a better interpretation of the astrological as well as the natural laws. Hence, we find the entity was associated with those who looked for the day, the hour, when the great purpose, that event, was to be in the earth a literal experience. Okay, so a lot was said there. So, this entity, this human who was very wise in ancient Persian knowledge, which is awesome. We are probably going to head into that in January. I'm excited. Knew through astrological, through mathematical, so a lot of sacred geometry, and psychic gifts, them being only subdued by 3D density, not ruled by it, were able to be aware of what is referred to as the great purpose. That is in bold black letters in this material. The great purpose. Once again, they enter this entire message started with, as indicated by the travels of the master during the periods of the preparation, the whole earth, the whole world looked for, sought the closer understanding. That is the great purpose. That is the Prince of Peace. That is why all of this event took place, the great purpose. Whoa. This entity was among those who were the wise men coming into Jerusalem and Bethlehem when the Master came into the earth. The entity gained through his period of pointing out that through the various forces necessary to keep the balance in the universal forces, the earth must bring forth that would make man's balance of force with the creative energy as one. The soul, the Son of Man appeared. I'm going to keep reading and bring that up. The entity brought the frankincense and gave same to the master at the period. So why did this great purpose happen? Why was the entire earth and all of its inhabitants looking and seeking more clear, better, absolute understanding? Various forces necessary to keep the balance in the universal forces. The earth must bring forth that would make man's balance of force with the creative energy, the creator, the first, the creative energy that flows throughout our earth, because we are creators. So human's energy was way off balance with the creators. And the earth had to bring forth something to help rebalance this. Would make man's balance of force with the creative energy as one. And the Son of Man appeared. The entity brought the frankincense and gave some of them to the master at that period. So please understand this, folks, because next Friday, I'm going to really shine light all over that. All over. That is to bring human, in connection, balance, harmony with Creator. That was its purpose. Now, have there been other great masters that had the same intended purpose? Yes. What they focused on, was it different? Yes. How the messages were received was different? Yes. Where it stands today, very different? Yes. But when man gets out of balance to that amount, that the whole earth and its inhabitants are seeking balance again, well, then something has to come from the earth in order to demonstrate to us that it can happen. Become the astrologer of the association's membership. That's a side note. Giving to these the weeks, the years, and that influences without respect of will, or the interpreter with same of that information is to how an individual has or has not applied will's forces in earth's experiences. Also, the relationships in the various elements that have to do with spheres or related to Earth's spheres, the variations from one phase through Arcturus to another forces or return through Saturn. So that's a little side note that the Akashic clearly was giving as to that great purpose. They're trying to say exactly what I just said. There has to be an entity that becomes present so us humans can witness that it is possible to be so close with the creator that you can feed 5,000 people with 2 fish, that you can travel through Arcturus, return to Saturn, through the sun. You can do all these things in a human body of form, as we did originally, until the fog and forgetfulness started to rule man and subdued others. So they put a little bit of in there, which to go into that context would be pretty profound. So I'm not doing that right now. But we're going to keep reading. This entity, Jose, was close to Mary when the selection was indicated by the shadow or the angel on the stair, that period of consecration in the temple. So this is often what happens with Akashic readings. You're going to ask a question, and the question, we're still in the answer of, so what about these wise men traveling with Jesus? Did that happen? We're still in that answer. This is what happens when there's an Akashic reading. Y'all don't know. I got to hear and get a bunch of stuff, and then I got to go, does this human need to know all of this right now? Wait a minute. What is the answer to their question? So it keeps going. And I just introduced a whole new character, folks. A member of the scene. That beautiful body of peoples that were the enlightened ones, that were the ones that were only subdued. This entity, Jose, was close to Mary when the selection was indicated by the shadow or the angel on the stair at that period of consecration in the temple. This was not the temple in Jerusalem, but the temple where those who were consecrated worshiped, or a school, as it may be termed, for those who might be channels. So the wise men came for the consecration, but Jose, who was close to Mary in a scene, now he comes into play, and we're going to learn a bunch of stuff. Now, do understand, angel, cool, angel was there. Um, Not an atypical temple. Could be more like a tabernacle, right? A tabernacle where, psychics would gather and worship and consecrate things. It literally just said, this is not the temple in Jerusalem, but the temple where those who were consecrated worshiped, or a school, as it might be termed, like in today's world, for those who might be channels. Well, everybody here in this community knows what a channel is. This was a part of that group of unseens who, headed by Judy, made those interpretations of those activities from the Egyptian experience as the temple beautiful and the service in the temple of sacrifice. Hence, it was in this consecrated place where this selection took place. So they're selecting things. The consecration happened. Now there's a selection process because we are still answering the question, who actually traveled with Jesus? And now we got two new characters, Jose and Judy. Apparently, Judy, feminine, was the head honcho of the scene that were present at the birth of Jesus. Hey, I like that because I do appreciate the scene. The Nagamati texts are more based on a scene work. Now, I am disclosures, more the scene. There is a lot of material out there. If I were to refer to myself as anything, I would like to refer to myself as an Essene. And to know that there was a lady at the top of all this, of this selection process, that's right. That's right. Then, when there was the fulfilling of those periods when Mary was with Joseph and was given birth to the Savior, the Messiah, the Prince of Peace, the way, the truth, the light. Soon after this birth, there was an issuing of the orders, first by Judy, that there should be someone selected to be with the parents during their period of journeying, of taking a journey to Egypt, being in Egypt. This was owning to the conditions which arose from the visit of the wise men and their not returning to Haran to report. When the decrees were issued that there should be the destruction of children of that age for from 6 months to 2 years, especially in that region from Bethany to Nazarene. So I'm gonna read from something else because we're this show's getting pretty long, folks. But I take this into account because this is all going to be discussed. This is a opening of a series about who the Magi were. Okay. Now, what I started with at the beginning to pronounce, there's a lot of material out there. Some the church recognizes, some the church doesn't. We just read from an Akashic message via Edgar Casey. I'm going to read from another material, but take this into account. So, this beautiful child, what the earth had been seeking, and this is all of the Savior's titles: Savior, Messiah, Prince of Peace, the way, the truth, the light. So, however you want to envision that consciousness that is clearly connected to Grand Creator, opposed to those who have fallen into the density of 3D, and the balance and harmony here has gotten completely out of whack. The creator says, wait a minute, the earth is crying out to me, because the earth is very beloved by the creator. But a being, a human, has to be born, has to be created for us to witness, because everything else in a 3D density fog is questionable. Everything else, did I see that? Did I not see that? Whoa, was that something psychic that I just did? Or no? Was that a download? I don't know. Because it's human nature to question. So it has to come from witnessing it in someone else. That was the purpose. For some, it's the Savior. Savior from the 3D density. You can ascend. You can be just as close to the Creator and be a creator yourself. Messiah, save me from the rules. Save me from the heartache. Save me with all that conscious awareness. Show me how it's done. The Prince of Peace. Well, shoot. I want some peace, right? The way, the truth, the light. The way, the truth, the light. For me, folks, is how he was taught to supersede and taught to, you are going to present this. Anything that the scene had been able to do in a very long time of corruption and unbalance. He took that on to, I'm going to teach, I'm going to show everybody it can be done. Us humans don't have to be ruled. Us humans don't have to be down in the dumps. Us humans can do as the Creator has given us the abilities to do. We just have forgotten. We have forgotten over and over and over again. And he is saying, I am the truth, the light, the way. Well, who doesn't want some truth and light? Well, this is the way. Do as I do. Don't fear. Don't fear. Step on that water, because you know metaphysically all is energy. We had to have a human like the Buddha, like so many masters throughout different pockets of time that showed us that within these bodies of form, we are just as magical. We are just as powerful. We are just aware, peaceful, complete balance, able to perform miracle after miracle. If you want to heal, if you want to do anything, if you want to feed 5,000 people with 2 fish in this body of form, it can be done here on earth. Consider ordering the IMADU detox system, because it's taking care of this body of form that really does need to come first. Because it's this body that performs the miracles. And the energy that this body is able to send out vibrationally. Everything is energy. So everything is vibration to one degree or another. So if your internal vibration based on your conscious, right? Consciousness is frequency. Frequency is the vibration within that then is sent out. If you can get to a frequency consciousness of 7D and higher, but then those miracles, those Christos miracles are for everyone. Sorry, I got a little bit on my soapbox there, because we are in that selection process of who would be traveling with this baby. This baby. He had to be a baby. In reading, you know what? I am going to read further. I don't care. I'm with y'all. I am going to read further because it'll state again. Oh, it's lovely. I'm going to find it real quick for y'all. Real quick. I'm going to find it real quick. This also is from the Akashic, within the same material. I mean, they're just answering questions about this. Probably fascinated people. But I'm going to read this one little section, and then I'm going to jump to another short little reading. Remember and keep this in mind. This is from the Akashic record. Remember and keep in mind, he was normal. They're talking about Jesus. He was normal. He developed normally. So he was a little baby. He grew up as a little baby boy, little kid. absolutely the same as us. Same body system, same as us. There was absolutely no difference. He had to be taught his ABCs. He had to be taught how to put them sandals on. He had to be breastfed. He had to play with other kids to have some kind of social awareness. The only difference between him and us was the amount of care, development, and someone continuously telling him from day one, you are from God. You are connected to God. Now imagine if someone from day one did that with you and then taught you the most miraculous stuff and taught you how to be completely open to allowing the God source energy to flow from you to others. Remember and keep in mind, he was normal. He developed normally. Those about him saw those characteristics that may be anyone's who wholly puts trust in God. So this beloved being was sheltered in a way to not allow all the 3D to capsize him, to cloud his mind, to cloud his heart. But he still had to be integrated. He needed to learn his ABCs. How do you dress oneself? How do you bathe? How do you do this? And then more and more, they kept it that this beautiful child of God, whom is all of us, they just said anyone who wholeheartedly trusts God, creator, source, I don't care how you call it, anyone who wholeheartedly trusts can do the same thing because he was born just like you and I, but it was represented to him that he is the truth, the light, the way. Now imagine if someone in your life had done that from day one and it never stopped. So of course at 30 years, you go, okay, I'm strong enough. I'm strong enough to go out into that world amongst all the humans. I'm really strong enough. You don't need to shelter me anymore. I'm strong enough. I'm a man that is very connected to God. I can do it. I have full trust. I have no fear. Imagine if we did that. If you experienced that. Imagine if you could start that process today. Because you can. You can. So, this is what's fascinating. Because I'm telling you, there's nothing really different about him when he was born. And that has to be raised like a child, right? Was there a sense that there's something different? Yes, but there's a sense that there's something different with every beautiful baby. So this comes from the Gospels, um, the apophatical Gospels that, and I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, that, like I said at the beginning, give a little bit more detail from what is in John, Paul, Matthew, right? Mark, all of it. Well, not Paul, but all of it. A little bit more detail. No, the church does not recognize them. But this is fascinating. And it came to pass when the Lord Jesus was born at Bethlehem in a city of Judah, in the time of Herod the king, the wise men came from the east to Jerusalem, according to the prophecy of Zorusser, which is the Persian master, and brought with them offerings, namely gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and worshipped him, and offered to him their gifts. Then the lady Mary took one of his cloths in which the infant was wrapped and gave it to them instead of a blessing, which they received from her as a most notable present. So this swaddling cloth. So it's about to tell you that it was actually the swaddling cloth that was Jesus was wrapped in when he was born. So the swaddling cloth is also covered in blood, all the stuff that happens at birth, right? But when a baby is born, we almost immediately swaddle it in a cloth to put it back in that kind of sack-like state, right? That comfort state. Much to the surprise of the Magi, the swaddling cloth turns out to have miraculous powers. Now, stay with me because I'm going to read this, but then I'm going to have to jump back. On their return, the kings and princes came to them inquiring, what had they seen and done? What sort of journey or return had they had? What company had they on the road? But they produced the swaddling cloth which Saint Mary had given to them. On account thereof, they kept a feast. So they were trying to say it was the Sabbath, we had a feast, whatever it was, that it's bloody because somebody stopped them on the road, these three wise men, and are like, who are you? Where did you come from? Who were you visiting? All the questions, right? Because they were supposed to go back to the king. I guess I forgot to tell you all that. The three wise men had seen as they were coming into town, they were actually kind of forced to go talk to King Heron of like, what are you doing here? You clearly are not from this area. And they told them, the stars in the sky told us that a great event, a great purpose was happening here. And we do think it's the birth of the light, as it has been in previous centuries before. December 25th is also Horus's birthday, the Egyptian god. It is also, presumably, Odin's birthday. We will be talking about this as we go further. So the birth of the light, the truth, the way. They said it was going to be happening as they're standing in front of this horrible king, who then told them, okay, you can go on, go meet the child, the baby, but come see me when you're done and let me know how it went. Wow. The wise men then talking with Judy and Jose, members of the scene that are of that region, then told all those wise men, don't you dare go back to that king. Don't you dare. So the wise men are traveling and they get stopped with all these questions. Well, as they're also being, all their stuff is being rummaged through, being inspected, right? Somebody comes across this bloody cloth. And they said, oh, it's a Sabbath. We kept a feast, what have you. And that's the blood from the animals, right? And having, according to the custom of their country, made a fire when they worshipped it, right? And casting the swaddling cloth into it, the fire took it and kept it. And when the fire was put out, they took forth the swaddling cloth unhurt, as much as if the fire had not touched it. Then they began to kiss it and put it upon their heads and eyes, saying, this is certainly the undoubtable truth that it is really surprising that the fire could not burn it and consume it. Then they took it, and with the greatest respect laid it out among their treasures. So in this version of story, after the interrogation, they made a fire because okay, now we gotta settle, that took a long time, them going through all of our stuff. We gotta eat something. They made a fire and they went, okay, this is probably gonna get us in trouble during our journey. That's this version of the story. This is probably gonna get us in trouble as we have to continue to travel because we did not go back to the king. So, of course, you make a fire if you're out in the wilderness to eat, to everything. They decide, okay, we're just going to throw this cloth into the fire. Come to find out, that cloth was never destroyed. They used it for cooking, they used it. The fire was consuming all that fire consumes. All the air, everything, as fire does. Fire is a very consuming energy. It's intense and it likes to eat. It did not eat that cloth whatsoever. So could you imagine the next morning when you're putting that fire out or it's died down to just some coals burning and this cloth is in the same condition it was when it was presented to you? Now, we have no idea if that is because it was the blood of Christ. We don't know. We have no idea if Mary, who y'all was also psychic, it's a whole lot of some of what's coming into all this story time here at Friday at 11 a.m. We don't know if other members of the scene blessed that cloth big time. We're not sure what gave this cloth the ability. We're not sure if it was just blessed because it was the first thing that touched the baby Jesus. We don't know. But we do know the wise men went, whoa. Now, I'm going to jump back and then I'm definitely going to let you guys go at some point. I appreciate you all popping in and sticking with me and even listening to this after the live taping because we do have a lot of fun here at Stars of Morning Light, invoking different thoughts, reading different materials, inviting us to actually gain more awareness that it's present, it's out there for us. So, what I do want to tell you, beautifuls, is during that selection process that Judy was ahead of, as they're all within the tabernacle, the community, the tent, the cave, because it is also recorded from this Akashic message that that birth of Jesus was in a cave. Very different than the little nativity, um, what is it called? It was the barn in the storage house in the barn and the little. It is recorded that it was actually a cave. So we might get into that at some point as well. But I'm trying to look for it real quick. Where it states, because I kind of lost my place, folks. Well, I'll just tell you. I'll make a long story short. In the Akashic message, we get a report that the wise men were told by Judy, no matter what you do not go back to that king and tell him where this baby is. Do not tell him that we are hiding in a cave. Which isn't it interesting that most ancient texts are found hidden in caves? Now, it is reported that the scene lived in caves more than anything because they were always hiding. So if the birth of the Prince of Peace is fixing to happen, it's probably in a cave and not in a manger that the wind and all the elements are blowing through. You're around a bunch of barn animals. It's probably under very guarded protection. I can see Jose standing like kind of on the outside of that cave, being a lookout, knowing that this baby is being born. I can see Judy right there doing all of whatever is needed to secure in metaphysical ways protection, grace for the birth of this baby. It makes a whole lot more sense to me that it happened in a cave, especially all the people involved that are known to be of the psychics of the time, the scene, that is no longer okay because the rule of the land, the rule is only from the king. So anything outside of what the king says is okay, right? It is then reported that during that selection process of, okay, we can't stay here, we got to travel, which anyone that's actually in hiding because safety reasons, you end up having to start traveling. You don't stay in one place. And also, that baby, he needed to get to Egypt to study, to learn, to practice much, much older ways, much, much older ways of knowledge. Knowledge that Judy had, knowledge that Jose had, knowledge that those wise men had, who lived there. One of them, at least. We got Egypt, Persia, India. 3 wise men. That somewhere in the mix knew to go there. Y'all, they didn't call each other on the phone. They didn't text each other. Persia, Egypt, India. Mind, body, soul. Those 3 men showed up. Gold, frankincense, myrrh. And Judy went, "Glad you're here. I sent for you. Now, do not go back to that king. And we would love for you 3, or at least one of you, to accompany us as we travel to Egypt." And then it's also reported that they stayed in Egypt for quite a while. Then they went to India. Then they went to Persia. And then they went back to Egypt. And he finished out much of his growing years until he did his service for humanity. He spent most of the end cap of his formative learning, practicing, development years in Egypt. Went to Egypt as a baby, spent all his little time there as a child. I think it was about 6 or 8 years old. Then they moved on to India. Then they moved on to Persia. Then he spent at least the last good portion of his young adult life in Egypt. At the time of his birth, those 3 wise men, even if it was just one, moved on with them. I think actually it's reported that they all kind of journeyed, the 3 of them journeyed with them to Egypt, and then the other 2 went back to their homes in India and Persia, waiting for when they would show up again. So the story of the cloth, this is where I'm kind of putting a big bow on this. The story of the cloth. This is my feeling of what probably happened. Because they never went back to the king, who issued a decree of kill all the babies, right? And I'm also looking for these 3 guys that seem to be traveling together. What I have a feeling is the wise men probably went ahead of Mary, Joseph, Judy, and Jose and the baby Jesus. Went ahead of them because it's the smart thing to do, and they were stopped, right? They were stopped. They were searched. They were questioned. Those three men sacrificed their own safety because usually when one set is being looked for and questioned a lot and interrogated, by the time the next set comes in, they get kind of passed by. Especially if you can somehow cloak that baby, somehow hide that baby. Now we just got to pick standard couples traveling together. If you can hide that baby, which I'm sure Judy and Jose, and probably even Mary, knew how to do. The only one that was, whoa, what did I just walk into, is Joseph. But man, he held on. He was great. He learned a great deal. He was chosen for that. I have a feeling the wise men went ahead before because they knew they're looking for a baby, but they're looking more so for the wise men that know where that baby is. They would go through every interrogation to hopefully conceal that these couples that are not too far behind them have nothing to do with this stuff. So then we have them actually traveling with them, but there might be a day or two distance between. We have to put it into context of history and how people travel and the severity of the situation. So, one story is going to tell you they were doing their own thing, that they chose not to go back to the king. They're traveling, they get interrogated, they get searched, and later that night, as they're cooking dinner, they find out that this cloth cannot burn whatsoever. I think it's all related. I think that happened. And I think they went, thank you for giving us a sign because we were just terrified. Thank you for telling us we are doing what is meant to be done. Thank you for showing up by not allowing this fire. Thank you for the confirmation. Because you can get all the confirmations you want from the stars. You can get all the confirmations you want from psychic. It is the tangible. It is the witnessing of in the material world that for all humans, we go, wow, it's a miracle. So I think the wise men need it too. Because they, I think, were kind of up in front, risking a whole lot so that Mary, Joseph, Judy, and Jose could travel with that baby to Egypt. That is my personal thoughts because it also coincides with a lot that is said in the Bible, coincides with a lot of other material. So let us return real quick to divine masculine energy, number 22 of 4. 4 represents structure. It represents balance. Divine masculine energy. Thank you, wise men. Thank you for being willing to take that journey. The frequency of divine masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. That's beautiful sacred geometry. manifest that you are one with the Creator, which was the grand purpose that Earth and all of its inhabitants were seeking. They were seeking that understanding of the oneness. So we will continue this journey with the Magi and this time of year, right? Beautiful December, beautiful Yule, which just means gathering, right? Gathering to, well, we'll talk about that later. The Magi, December, all of it. The magic of now. I love it so much. I truly, truly do. Please consider daydreaming about all that you would love to manifest in 2025. What brings you joy? What lights up your life? That's what I'm asking everybody to daydream about today or this week, this weekend, of all the downloads and psychic potentiality. Daydream. What lights up your life? And consider emailing Stars of the Morning Light to order your iMadu detox system from all the heavy metals in your body, to open up that pineal gland, to do all as in taking care of this body first. So thank you all for listening, subscribing, hit the thumbs up for me. I'll see you later tonight. Lucky Stone 888, Esoteric Tea here at Stars of the Morning Light, SML, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday. Lucky and I are somewhere doing it. Tonight it's here, folks. So I will see you later. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Bye.